The start of the new Premier League season is here, so I thought, why not drop a video giving my predictions on what might happen? But before we get into that, we do have to break down the tiers and what exactly we're going to be getting into. Because not only will I be predicting how the top half of the Premier League table finishes, I'm also going to predict who gets relegated, and we're going to be looking at Carabao Cup winner, FA Cup winner. We're going to be talking about who ends up winning the Golden Boot, who has the most assists, who wins the player of the season, and we also have the section right here at the bottom where we're going to predict which team is going to underperform and not live up to expectations. So I need you guys to get in the comment section and let me know what your predictions are for the Premier League this season. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications. Let's start with who gets relegated, because I'm predicting that 2 out of the 3 teams that came up are going to be going right back down. Now, I'm looking at Leeds. I also think Burnley are going to struggle as well. I can't see them staying up, just being very honest with you. I don't think that they've done good enough business this summer between the both of them to be able to compete. So that means that a Premier League team is going to get sent down, because I think Sunderland have had a very good summer window. And I actually think that even though they'll be in the bottom half of the table, they'll do better than Leeds and Burnley. And I think they will manage to escape relegation. But I'm looking at Brentford. For me, I think they're cooked. They've lost a lot of important players this summer, and they've also lost their manager. Mbeumo is at Manchester United. Nygaard is at Arsenal. Newcastle want Wissa. He's more than likely going to force that move. And then Thomas Frank went to Tottenham. So Brentford, a lot of their key personnel is gone. I would not be surprised if we see them struggle a lot. So yeah, these are my 3 that go down. What do you guys think? Now, I do want to move into the top 10. And we're going to start off with 10th, and we're going to work our way down. So I'm predicting Nottingham Forest to come 10th. I think they're going to fall off a bit from what we saw this past season. Now that they got some European football, they're in the Europa League. They're not good enough to rotate their squad for those games. So they're going to have to go full strength midweek and then on the weekend, which I think can take a toll on them, because I just don't know if they have the squad that can handle that. So yeah, I think Nottingham Forest, they're still going to be a tough team to beat, right? Nuno, he did a good job with them last season. They brought in some new signings like the guys from Brazil, Igor Jesus, who does play for the Brazil national team, right? I've seen him start. I've seen him score. They also brought in that Brazilian defender as well from Botafogo. So, you know, they've been... Oh, and they signed Ndai. I think that's how you say his name. He's the replacement for Alanga, who ended up at Newcastle. So they've done some decent business, but I just don't think they're going to be as good as they were this past season. And then with them playing twice a week now, could be a lot for them. So yeah, I think they finish 10th. Now, 9th, I'm going to say Brighton. I think Brighton come 9th. I don't know why, to be honest. I just think they usually find a way to stay up. They always do very good when it comes to recruiting players that we've never heard of and then turning them into ballers. Now, if they do lose Baleba, that can hurt them. But they do have a solid squad. So, yeah, I think they'll come top half of the table. And, yeah, I'm predicting 9th for them. Now, 8th. I'm going Manchester United. I think United are going to look a lot better than what they did last season. They don't have any European football, so only 1 game a week until the domestic cups start. And the summer business has been decent, right? They brought in Mbeumo. They've signed Cunha. They've got Sesko. So they revamped their entire attack. And if they get Baleba and Donnarumma, then I think they'll finish higher than this. But just looking at their squad so far, it's decent, right? Like, I rate Amad Diallo. I like Kobe Mainu, right? They got Lenny Yoro in the back line, but they still have some issues that they have to work out. I don't really believe in Ruben Amorim like that. So, yeah, I think they'll be around 8th. Now, 7th, I'm saying Tottenham as of right now. Tottenham have the chance to move up as well, especially with the transfer news that we're seeing. These guys, right, not only have they already signed Kudos, but they're being linked with Savio and Eze. They want both of them. And that can give them one of the most creative attacks in the Premier League, right? So, I like what Tottenham have going on. Last season, they were shit, but they did end up winning the Europa League. But I think they have a lot of talent, right? When I look at that back line, you got Cuti Romero, you got Van de Ven. I think Vicario is a good goalkeeper as well. You have Kulusevski, who's a baller, right? Pedro Porro, one of the best attacking fullbacks. Jed Spence, a very underrated left back. And I think Thomas Frank is going to have them a lot more structured than what Ange Postecoglou did. With the talent that Spurs have, they had no business being in the bottom half of the table. And I don't think we're going to see a repeat of that. So I have them coming 7th. Now, I think Newcastle finished 6th. Now, if Isak ends up leaving and joining Liverpool, yeah, they're going to drop from these predictions. But as of right now, I'm predicting that Alexander Isak ends up staying for one more season. And Newcastle, they've had a shit summer window, right? For a team that finished in a Champions League spot, they have been getting rejected left and right. Their summer business has not been good enough for a team that had a lot of ambition heading into the window. Now, they signed Aaron Ramsdale and they signed Elanga from Nottingham Forest. Those are 2 players that you didn't need Champions League to get, and I don't think those 2 players make them that much better. Now, they did sign that defender from AC Milan, Malik Dow, who I actually think is a good player. He looks decent from what I've seen him in the past. And they still do have a good midfield, right? They still got Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali. And if Isak stays, they will still be competitive. So, yeah, I have them finishing 6th in the table. Also, how are they going to deal with having Champions League and Premier League? Last time, it didn't really work out that well for them. So, we'll see. Eddie Howe is a good manager. Now, 5th. Also, wait a minute. Didn't Newcastle sign Jacob Ramsey as well, if I'm not mistaken? Right? From Aston Villa. I could be wrong. You know, matter of fact, I'm going to change this prediction. Let's move Newcastle out. No, actually, no. Let's move Newcastle to 7th. Sorry. Newcastle to 7th. I think Tottenham comes 6th. Actually, I'm brainstorming live right now, chat. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's remove Tottenham. I think Aston Villa are going to come 6th. I think Tottenham finish 5th. For me, yeah, Tottenham come 5th. I think Villa, look, Emi Martinez might be leaving. Ollie Watkins' future is up in the air. They've just underperformed, in my opinion. Like, I don't think Aston Villa have been as good as I thought they were when they were making all those signings. But I still do rate Unai Emery, and they're still going to be a competitive team. But I actually do not think they're going to be better than Tottenham this upcoming season. So, yes, I have Tottenham coming 5th. Now, we're getting into this top 4. Let's not forget, people, the Champions League spots for the Premier League is 1 through 5. So, 5 teams will be able to qualify for the Champions League just through league positioning. I think Tottenham managed to get in. Now, 4th, I'm going to say Chelsea, the champions of the world. They have a very underrated squad, but I don't believe they're good enough to compete yet. I do rate a lot of Chelsea's players. Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Reece James, Esteval. João Pedro looks like a baller as well. You got Liam Delap there. Pedro Neto has been doing well over the summer, so maybe that form continues. But defensively, even though they weren't bad last season, I just think they could have invested into that a little bit more. And we'll see when the summer window closes. But Levi Caldwell tore his ACL. They still have Robert Sanchez in goal. That, to me, big liability. But I think they will finish in a Champions League spot. I actually think Chelsea are going to have a pretty decent season coming up. So, yeah, I have them coming fourth. Now, third. Might surprise some people, but we got to do it. Arsenal. I think they finished third this season. For me, they have peaked. I don't think Arsenal are going to come second again. I think Arteta, this is his last season. I believe he gets sacked because they have a good enough squad, but the summer business that they did, to me, could have been better. The fact that you wasted $52 million on Madueke, another Chelsea reject, and then most of your signings have just been for the bench. Yeah, they signed Victor Gyökeres, but I'm looking at that left wing position. They have nobody there that's good enough. So I think Arsenal, while they still will be competitive, I believe they will come third. But defensively, they are, I think, the best defensive unit in the Prem. But I just have a feeling that they're going to fall off, bro. I'm going to just be completely honest with you. Second, I'm going Man City. I think they will have a bounce back year, but I don't think City are going to be better than the team that I have coming first. They've had a decent summer window, right? They signed Tijani Reinders. They brought in Cherki. They signed Ryan Aït-Nouri. And they still do have some ballers in their team, right? Rodri's going to be fit. Their midfield is revamped. Their attack should look good as it always does. They're being linked to Rodrigo. They have Erling Haaland up front, so they're going to bag a lot of goals. But the weakness for Man City is defensively, right? Are they going to be able to fix the defensive issues that they have? Because, yeah, I rate Vardiol, and I think Aït-Nouri is a good left back. But when I look at the right side of their defense, Ruben Diaz is a bit washed. And their right back is more than likely going to be Matheus Nunes, who is not good defensively. So they may struggle there, but it's Pep Guardiola, right? I have to give him the benefit of the doubt that they bounce back. But I don't think they win the Premier League. I think this will be the first time in Pep's career that he does not win the league in back-to-back seasons? Which would be mad. And that could possibly mean the end of Pep Guardiola at Man City because he might just walk away, to be fair. But the team that I have winning the Premier League, look, we all know this, bro, is Liverpool. Liverpool have had the best summer window in Europe. They've been moving mad. Liverpool are moving like a team that I don't recognize. Florian Wirtz, that was the biggest domino of this summer. The fact that they hijacked Bayern and Man City to sign one of the most wanted young attacking midfielders in the world is a madness. Then they go get Trent's replacement in Jeremy Frimpong, who he's not as good as Trent, but in terms of giving you GA from that right back position, he should be able to get involved in the final third, right? We saw him at Leverkusen. Then they went and signed one of the best left backs in the Prem in Milos Kerkez to replace Andy Robertson, who was washed. They have one of the best midfields in the Prem. They re-signed Van Dijk. Alisson is fit. They re-signed Mohamed Salah. They also brought in Ekitike. They've literally addressed every issue that they have. And they just signed this young defender that's going to come in and be backup. So they do have some depth. I think the expectations are for Liverpool to retain their title. Arne Slot came in, won the Premier League without any signings. Now he's been backed massively. And I think the expectations are for them to finish top again. Now, like I said, people, how this goes is the team that's closest to the tiers, that's who finishes lower. So this is who I think comes in the top 10. I think Nottingham Forest come 10, Brighton 9th, Manchester United 8th, Newcastle 7th, Aston Villa 6th, Tottenham 5th, Chelsea 4th, Arsenal 3rd, Man City 2nd, Liverpool 1st. This is how I see the top half of the Premier League table. Now let's get into the other predictions, because we still got to talk about the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, who will finish as the Golden Boot winner, who will have the most assists, who will be player of the season, and which team will be the biggest underperformers. Now, Carabao Cup, I'm predicting Chelsea to win it. I think Chelsea are going to continue that momentum that they've carried from the Club World Cup, and I think they will win the Carabao Cup. FA Cup, I'm going Man City. I think they will win a trophy. There's no way that Man City are going to be trophyless in back-to-back seasons, right? Like this, that just cannot be a possibility, right, chat? There's no way. So, yeah, I'm going to predict them for the FA Cup. And then for most goals, I'm going to go Erling Haaland. I think he's going to have a bounce-back season. City have brought in creators. They're going to be feeding him. Erling Haaland's an absolute monster. This guy was built in a lab. I think he ends up finishing top goal scorer in the Premier League again. Most assists, I'm actually going to predict Bukayo Saka. I think Saka last season before his injury was cooking. Like, he was getting a lot of assists. And now that they actually have a proper number 9 in Victor Gyökeres, Saka should be able to rack up these assists. So that's how I think it's going to play out. And then player of the season, I am going Mohamed Salah. He is who I think is going to lead Liverpool again. And I think with that happening, he will win player of the season because they're going to win the league. And then for underperforming team, I'm going with Arsenal. I think they are going to underperform this season because the expectations for them are to win the Premier League. And they're not going to do that. They're also not going to win the Champions League either. So it's going to be a very underwhelming season because I have them going trophyless once again. And like I said earlier, Arteta, in my opinion, will get sacked. So let me know what you guys are saying about my predictions. It's all right there on screen. Do you guys agree? Or do you think something else, right? Because obviously there's no way that we're going to all have the same prediction. So I want to know what you guys are saying. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications.